82, I thought I had learned everything about life. But there's one decision I deeply regret: moving into a nursing home. At first, it seemed like the right choice. My family promised me all the care and comfort I needed. They said it would be safer. I believed them. But what I found there shocked me. Life in a nursing home is not what I expected, and the lessons I've learned have changed me forever. If you or someone you love is thinking about moving to a nursing home, listen to what I have to say. You might be surprised by what you don't know yet. The first regret I want to share is losing my independence. It wasn't the small room or the unfamiliar faces that shocked me most. It was the realization that I had lost control over my own life. Before I moved in, I had my routines. Simple things like waking up when I wanted, making my own meals, taking walks whenever I felt like it. But in the nursing home, everything changed. My day was dictated by others. Breakfast was at a set time, even when I wasn't hungry. Lights out happened whether I was ready or not. I didn't realize that once you give up your independence, getting it back is almost impossible. It was hard to accept, but I had no choice but to adapt. The hardest part was losing the ability to make even the smallest decisions for myself. What I didn't understand at the time was that once that freedom is gone, it's much harder to feel like you're really living. One of the hardest things about living in a nursing home was realizing how easily the world outside keeps moving without you. At first, my family visited regularly. My daughter came once a week, and my grandchildren came on weekends. It felt like I still had a connection to my life before the nursing home. But as time passed, their visits became less frequent. My daughter started calling instead of visiting, and my grandchildren got busy with school and work. Holidays were the hardest. Everyone promised they'd come, but the visits never came. And that's when it hit me. I was being forgotten. I sat alone in the common room, hoping that someone would remember me. But the truth is, once you're out of sight, it's easy to become out of mind. When I moved into the nursing home, I didn't realize I was also losing my sense of purpose. At home, I had responsibilities, small things that kept me active: watering the plants, making my coffee, tidying up. But in the nursing home, those tasks disappeared. Meals were made for me, and cleaning was done by someone else. The plants? They weren't mine to care for anymore. At first, I told myself it would be nice to rest, but soon I felt an emptiness. I was just waiting for time to pass. I watched other residents, like George, who once spent his days fixing things and working with his hands. But in the nursing home, there was nothing for him to do. His hands, once skilled and strong, sat idle in his lap. He looked at me one day and said, "I feel useless." And I understood exactly what he meant. Before I moved into the nursing home, I was doing well for my age. I wasn't running marathons, but I could take care of myself. I went for walks and cooked my own meals. But after moving in, everything changed. At first, it seemed like I was just taking it easy. Meals were brought to me, and I didn't have to stand in the kitchen to cook. But the less I did for myself, the weaker I became. I stopped walking as much, and before I knew it, getting up from a chair felt like a chore. The muscles I'd worked so hard to maintain were disappearing. One of the things I didn't fully understand before moving into a nursing home was just how much privacy and dignity I would lose. At home, I had my own space, my own time. I could close my bedroom door, sit in peace, and do what I wanted. But in a nursing home, privacy is no longer something you get to keep. From the moment I arrived, I felt watched. staff coming in and out, scheduled room checks, and the shared spaces where you're never really alone. Even simple things like getting dressed or using the bathroom often required someone's assistance. I remember my first week, struggling to come to terms with the fact that I had to ask for permission to do things I once did without thinking. Want to take a shower? You might have to wait. Need to use the restroom? Sometimes pressing the call button meant waiting longer than you'd like. And then there were the roommates. Not everyone gets a private room. Sharing a space with someone you didn't choose can be frustrating, especially when the person is loud or unclean. I was fortunate to have a kind roommate, but many weren't so lucky. Another regret I didn't fully anticipate was the decline of my social connections. At home, I was surrounded by friends, family, and familiar faces. I had social interactions regularly. But in the nursing home, those interactions started to dwindle. It's easy to assume that you'll make new friends in the nursing home, but it's not the same as the social life you have at home. People are often busy with their own health issues, and the environment feels isolating. I remember some days feeling like I was just another face in the crowd. The truth is, no matter how many activities are scheduled, nothing can replace the meaningful, personal relationships that I had outside. I began to miss my friends from church, my neighbors, even just being able to meet someone for coffee and conversation. Over time, I began to realize the emotional toll of adapting to life in a nursing home. At first, I resisted, trying to hold on to the life I once had. But eventually, I had to accept that this was now my reality. And that emotional shift took its toll. You start feeling like you've lost your sense of self-worth, not because anyone is treating you badly, but because the environment makes you feel less capable and less independent. The things I used to take pride in, cooking, gardening, even having control over my schedule, were no longer a part of my life. That loss made me feel insignificant at times. The hardest part was the guilt. I began to feel guilty for needing help. I didn't want to burden my family, but the truth was, I was becoming dependent on others in ways I never imagined. Another regret I have is the struggle to stay active. Before moving in, I kept myself busy, going for walks, doing my own chores, staying fit. But the longer I stayed in the nursing home, the more my routine changed. At first, I was told that I needed to rest, but soon, resting too much led to my muscles weakening. I began to notice stiffness in my joints. The simple act of standing up felt like a challenge. I remember wishing I could just go for a walk again, but I didn't have the energy. When I was at home, I had a routine that kept me moving. In the nursing home, it's easy to fall into the trap of inactivity. Without physical activity, my body began to slow down, much faster than I anticipated. Looking back, I don't regret growing older, but I do regret believing that a nursing home was my only option. I walked in expecting comfort, safety, and a better quality of life. What I found instead was a world that slowly took away my independence, my privacy, my purpose, and my sense of self. Does that mean nursing homes are all bad? No. Some people genuinely need the level of care they provide. But before you make that decision, ask yourself, is this truly what's best for me, or is it just what seems easiest right now? Because the life you have today, your routines, your choices, your independence, is worth holding on to for as long as you can. Thank you for watching and for listening to my story. If you or a loved one is considering a nursing home, I hope this video helps you understand what you're truly giving up: your independence, privacy, and sense of purpose. These are things worth holding on to. Remember, no matter your age, you still have the power to shape your future. Stay active, stay connected, and always fight for what makes you feel alive. If this video resonated with you, feel free to like, subscribe, and share to help us continue sharing important stories. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences, so please leave a comment below. Take care, and remember, the best is yet to come.